Backlinks are one of the top ranking factors for your site. It's a no-brainer, and Google confirms it, but the process is so tiring, and you need to get some, outreach software to send out thousands of cold emails. So it's a lot of time wasted, and then you have to keep the records of all of your attempts in a spreadsheet, which gets just limitless. So our team was tired of that, and they did some market research, and they found out that a lot of other marketers are frustrated as well. It was surprising that some of them don't really resonate with the speed message that much. They don't have the time pressure to build links specifically. So this message actually resonated more with the agency folks and freelancers.
Interesting.
Growth expertise in the channels that you think will bring you the most users, but also to think strategically, to combine the strategic thinking with operations.
Hey, welcome to the Message Market Fit podcast. I'm your host, Chris Silvestri, and if you're new here, this is a show where I chat with B2B SaaS folks in marketing, product, growth, and founders about how they join the conversation already happening in their customers' minds. We dive deep into their thinking, their systems, and their playbooks to see how they empathize with their audience and speak to them in a way that resonates, so they're compelled to take action. Join us and learn how you too can shape your messaging strategy and write copy that truly resonates and differentiates you. I am excited for my guest today, Natália Tóth. Natália is a product marketing manager at Ranking Raccoon, an early-stage anti-spam link building tool. In this episode, we chat about the messaging challenges for an early-stage startup, how Ranking Raccoon approaches user research and testing, and how to test for B2B messaging across different customer segments, even with little resources. Let's dive right in. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me today, Chris. I'm fine, excited. It's my first podcast opportunity.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty excited because this is a bit different as well. So I don't normally have a lot of early stage companies. So it's going to be a very interesting discussion around messaging and the work you've
Mhm.
been doing so far at Ranking Raccoon. But before getting into the company, I would like to know, how did you get into product marketing at all? What's your kind of career transition?
Yeah, exactly. So I've been in marketing for nearly 3 years now. I started my journey in B2B enterprise at VM Software. And first I was in partner management, but then I realized that I want to go back to marketing because I want to do so many different things apart from just calling partners on the phone. And this is how I made the internal transition. And then I moved to a different country. I also changed the job, went to a startup, and there I was working in partner marketing first. But then I realized that product marketing is actually something I've been wanting to do all this time. And I realized that it's also a difficult field to break into. So it took me around a year to gain some experience in different product marketing, such as competitive intelligence and user research, case studies creation, all of this. And then I finally made it. And in March this year, I joined Ranking Raccoon, which is the product by UX Studio.
Mm-hmm.
We are based in Budapest. And yes, it's been half a year so far, an exciting journey.
Nice. Yeah, you mentioned you were attracted by product marketing. What do you like about it from your experience so far?
I'm a person who can't stand doing the same thing every day. So I'm mostly attracted by the versatility of product marketing because you got to write copies, but you also talk to users. You can get your hands dirty in design, even. And you also have to adopt the product mindset. So you have to think about how your marketing brings your not just users, but also revenues. And it's just incredible. So I love that I can learn all these different things at
Yeah.
a time.
Nice. Yeah, it's always good to see such a like a critical but also challenging position as more, yeah, it's like a challenge rather than seeing
Yeah.
obstacles. You see the challenge, which is great. And also, especially because you mentioned you're a solo marketer, right, in your team. How is your team structured?
Yeah, exactly. So We have our CEO, who is at the same time the product owner for Ranking Raccoon. And we have the product designer, Paola, who's fantastic. And we have two great developers, full stack developers.
Nice.
And it is me.
Yeah, awesome. So, what are your main challenges as a solo marketer at the company?
To juggle a lot of tasks at the same time and to become a real expert in at least one of the fields. So to grow expertise in the channels that you think will bring you the most users, let's say, but also to think strategically, to combine the strategic thinking with operations. Like you got your tasks to put up a LinkedIn campaign, but you also have to do competitive research on all levels, like to analyze their messaging, their pricing structure, their visuals, everything.
Yeah. Let's imagine that you're back at day one. What's a recommendation or suggestions, advice that you would give someone starting in product marketing from scratch?
To a new product marketer,
Yeah.
I think that would be to try and come up with some 30, 60, 90-day plans. And I know that if you search for Product Marketing Alliance, for example, you can find some templates. Because if you enter product marketing, it can seem overwhelming at first, and you can just lose track of all the things you need to do. But you need some plan, you need to talk to your manager, establish together what is the most important for you this quarter, let's say, and then you can determine priorities together.
Yeah. Very strategical. All right. It was interesting. Yeah. Since you're a very small team, what do you think will be the signs that it's time to expand and maybe hiring someone else in marketing? When do you think you will know?
If we grow faster than we had expected, yeah, we were discussing this at some point. We are not there yet. We don't have any specific figure in mind, so we're just on track.
Okay, so it's more of looking at revenue basically, and then deciding, okay, we can afford this, and these may be potential avenues.
Yeah, I think we will take it into consideration.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you worked also with some market leaders in a way, and like early stage company like this one. What are the key differences that you've seen from your experience and challenges?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, so you have experience both in the bigger companies, but also smaller ones like this. What are the main differences and challenges in marketing that you've seen for the two? Because I guess both and have different challenges, right?
Yeah. So the biggest company I worked for is VM Software. Of course, it has more than 4,000 employees, and there you have a marketer for every single small task. So we had email marketing specialists, graphic designers, social media marketers, and then partner marketers. But when you're at a startup, you should wear many hats, and naturally you will have propensity for some tasks, like I do, for example, for competitive research. But some other tasks, you still have to do them, but you just like them less. So you have to find a balance.
Yeah.
When you work at a corporation, of course, they move slower, and you don't really get the chance to become the marketing Jedi, I think, because you always have a team behind you. You have, I think, more space to make a mistake, and you are just responsible for a very tiny portion of the marketing. But when you are at a startup, no, you should ideally do everything perfectly from day one,
Yeah.
or maybe day two.
Do you think that work in a startup, smaller company help your confidence as well?
I think it certainly has helped me already in this half a year at UX Studio become a much better marketer.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so you mentioned UX Studio a couple of times. How was the
Yes.
whole company structured with UX Studio, Ranking Raccoon? What's the structure there?
Yeah, so UX Studio was founded 11 years ago in Budapest. It's a product design agency, and we have around 60 UX researchers and UX designers on the team. And at some point, UX Studio launched their own products. So now we have three products in the portfolio: the UX folio for UX designers, copy folio for copywriters and marketers, And the recent one is Ranking Raccoon, which was launched around a year ago.
Yeah, which is around link building, right?
Yes, which is a spam-free platform for link building.
Yeah. Okay, let's dive into Ranking Raccoon, which is 1 year old, right? Super early. So I'm especially interested in diving kind of your messaging work at these stages, because that's something that not a lot of people talk about, I think, enough. And a lot of people would benefit from learning and knowing. So can you tell us in your own words, or like from your work, who does Ranking Raccoon help?
Yeah, of course. So maybe I will do a small intro into why Ranking
Yes,
Raccoon was launched in
sure.
the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
So around a year and a half ago, I wasn't still there, but my colleagues were trying to build links to Copyfolio, UXfolio products. And they were struggling with that a lot because backlinks are one of the top ranking factors for your site. It's a no-brainer, and Google confirms it, but the process is so tiring and spammy. You have to prospect for the contact person at the site, which could give you a valuable backlink, and you need to get some, outreach software to send out thousands of cold emails, but the response rate is around 5% or maybe less. So it's a lot of time wasted, and then you have to keep the records of all of your attempts in a spreadsheet, which gets just limitless. So our team was tired of that, and they did some market research, and they found out that a lot of other marketers are frustrated as well. So they tried to build links on some Slack communities and forums, but found out that these are incredibly spammy and the sites repeat each other. That's how Ranking Raccoon was built.
Nice. So it's
to make link building easier and spam free.
And it was born as a scratch your own itch, like to solve your own problems.
Yes, exactly. Now we have, I would say, two main user segments. One of them are in-house marketers at small and medium businesses, mostly North America and Europe. And the other large segment are agency professionals, so people who do link building professionally on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. So if I would ask you, what problems do you solve? So you mentioned the spammy nature of link building. What else comes to mind?
Yes, spam nature, then paid backlinks, because the cost of a backlink can go anywhere from $100 to $500 based on the domain ranking and traffic. And Ranking Raccoon gives you the opportunity to build quality backlinks from high TA sites for free. So you don't have to pay anything. It's also much faster because you know exactly whom you have to ask for a backlink. So you don't have to do all this prospecting for weeks and keep huge spreadsheets. You just find the site and then you send a message and then you get the backlink. So it's super easy.
Yeah, it's like a matching service in a way. Matchmaking.
We do not match directly, but users can just browse the database and then reach out to the person.
Okay, got it. How did you get your first few customers?
The first few customers, we got them mainly through one-to-one outreach on LinkedIn. And my colleague, who was the marketer on the team before me, she tested a few different outreach strategies and copies. And for example, she found out that the formal tone of voice doesn't really convert. People are not that interested, but if you try to be informal, but also like personalize your message a bit, it works wonders.
Okay.
So
yeah. All right, I wanted to dive into, I have your website here, and looking at the value proposition at the top, which says, and we'll link to in the show notes to people, it says link up with credible sites and ditch spam forever. Get genuine backlinks from curated websites vetted by our expert team. How did you land on the value proposition from your work? I know that you've done a lot of user testing, message testing. So can you walk us through that?
yeah, sure. So this value proposition was created before I joined the team, but from what I know, there were quite a lot of interviews with users. We used some tools like Respondent to recruit them, and we just heard, and I heard in my user interviews that marketers find link building incredibly spammy, that they have to send cold emails on one hand, but on the other hand, their own inboxes get flooded with this, hello dear, I have 1,000 high DM websites. If you're interested, reply. And so this was really frustrating, and many marketers felt like they're losing their time on it because they have to do manual research, they have to make sure that the sites are legit and not gonna cause any harm if you get a backlinks from the site, actually.
Yeah.
So this is how we decided to differentiate from the spammy LinkedIn groups and Slack communities by saying that Ranking Raccoon is the spam-free.
Okay, so that's your positioning strategy, right? How do you see other competitors in the industry and what they're doing?
Yeah, so we have a few direct competitors who, some of them operate on the marketplace model. So you have to give backlinks first, and then you earn karma points, which you can use to get backlinks to your own site. Many of our competitors were actually founded by link building or SEO agencies. We have naturally many competitors who have introduced AI tools. We're just thinking about this. We're thinking if that makes sense for our product. So maybe it will come too. But we also have a portion of competitors, I don't know if I can relate to them this way, that don't really verify the sites that land there. So anyone can sign up and then search for backlink partners, but I have checked that there are some shady niches there. They are solving the same problem, but in a different way.
Yeah. All right. I'm curious, we mentioned AI. What's introducing AI or not? Is it more of a matter of yes or no, or how to introduce it? What's the thought process that you're going through?
For now, we're not prioritizing it.
Okay, so it's more of a later on thing.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. You mentioned user interviews that you've done. What other research methodologies have you used to learn more about your customers?
So our product designer does a lot of user tests as well. So she shows prototypes. For example, whenever we want to launch a new feature or improve an existing one, we use service to existing customers mostly. So we have found a way to embed the service into the email. So people don't have to go to Google form, but they just click on the option. And we have some good results with that. We tried launching the NPS survey. This hasn't brought us many results, so we switched it off. So this is now this. And sometimes you can find or do user research in unexpected places. For example, the product launch platforms such as Product Hunt, or I don't know, Reddit or other communities where your users are.
Yeah. When it comes to the surveys, you mentioned the email having one option that you can click right away. How is the survey structured? What kind of questions do you ask?
So we have done a few feature surveys. So because we're constantly trying to improve Ranking Raccoon, we want to know what our users would love to see next. So I think the recent feature survey, we did it in June. And we just asked one question, and what would you love to see in Ranking Raccoon? And then gave 4 or 5 options. And then we just segment people based on how they responded.
Got it. And as a product marketer yourself, I'm curious because you mentioned watching product people's recording of user testing. What kind of insights do you as a product marketer learn from watching more of like product-oriented recordings?
You mean screen recordings?
Yeah. For example, screen recordings of or watching user testing that the product team has with users. Because I imagine a lot of those user testing are going to be like feature oriented or usability oriented. But as a product marketer, you have to think in terms of how is this insights into how they use the product going to help me in my marketing. So what's your experience watching those and getting into the product side of things?
Yeah, good question. Sometimes I join our product designer on the user tests. So it's interesting to see how people react to different UI copies, for example, if they understand what we want from them, what is the next step. We also watch recordings on Hotjar, by the way. So we can see what people click on the landing page, and unsurprisingly, they click on the testimonials and on the pricing first,
Yeah.
and sometimes on the how it works page.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to ask when it comes to the user testing, if because you mentioned the product team was running those, but how do you recruit participants for the testing? Because in B2B especially, sometimes it's hard to find user testing participants. They might be busy or it might be expensive to recruit them. Yeah, I was curious about that.
We tried to recruit via LinkedIn and we had some success there, but eventually we went to recruiting outside of our existing audience. We use the tool Responded.io, and I think I use user interviews at some point. Yes, they had free credits, so I used them for my interviews. And Hotjar also had the product Hotjar Engage, probably it's called for finding respondents. So this is what my product designer used. And naturally, we do user tests and interviews with our existing users to get to know them a bit better, to see how they react to product features as well.
Yeah, because I imagine, especially as an early stage company, it might be hard not having a lot of customers that you can pull to find people. So it's good to have these platforms where you can recruit.
Yeah. But we are happy when we can recruit, let's say, 5 existing users to do interviews from the same segment. So if we can interview 5 in-house marketers who use Ranking Raccoon, we're already happy because we can see some patterns.
Yeah. It's all about options and things that people do over and over, right? All right. When it comes to these findings and your research, is there anything that you were surprised that would work, and maybe something that you thought would work didn't?
I can tell you that when we show the landing page, so our homepage to in-house marketers, they did resonate with the zero spam message. And some of them also mentioned that it's cool that we say all of our users have a common goal to build links because it makes the process so much more straightforward. But for me, it was surprising that they don't really, some of them don't really resonate with the speed message that much because, yes, an in-house marketer, especially at a small company, has to do a lot of tasks, but they don't have the time pressure to build links specifically. So this message actually resonated more with the agency folks and freelancers.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we also found that, yes, this no cold shoulder, no cold email is attractive for both in-house marketers and agency professionals. So it looks like everybody has cold emails.
Yeah. How do you, because I'm looking at the website and I see a lot of a really good copy, I think, that uses specific terminology. If someone wasn't familiar with link building, they wouldn't know like what a link farm is, right? So how do you pay attention to specific language and terms to use?
Yeah, link farms and PBNs were the enemies or the opposites of Ranking Raccoon from day one. And we're trying to attract people who do link building at least once per week. So they know what link farms are. But we also launched the blog recently where we're trying to explain these terms.
Okay, so to educate them a bit more, the ones that have lower awareness, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And you mentioned, so there's a lot of different segments that you speak to, the agencies and a lot of other ones. How do you speak to different segments? So for example, on the website, how do you address this segmentation?
So we actually introduced the segmentation for in-house professionals and agency professionals in May. Before that, we didn't really address for whom Ranking Raccoon is. And we're also working on the messaging for one more segment, which is the segment of small businesses, because we realized that around, I would say 20% of our users are small business owners who do everything. So not just marketing, but also the operations. Yeah. And how we came up with the messaging is we talked to existing users. And for example, we found that building links in Ranking Raccoon is around 3 times faster than with cold emails. And the other points, they come from our internal research and analytics. So for example, on the response rate and how it compares with the cold emails response rate.
All right, let's go into testing messages. You mentioned with me that you did some A/B testing on LinkedIn. What were some of the takeaways from that, and how did you do it?
Yeah, so for example, recently I did the A/B testing for campaigns for in-house marketers, and there were 3 campaigns with 4 different messages in each. And it was interesting to see that the solution that brought the best click-through rates and most website visits was where we spoke of the struggles that marketers have with link building and how Ranking Raccoon changes it. For example, we had a copy saying 64% of marketers find link building tough and we make it a breeze. And these visuals were followed by the copies of user feedback. So it's just one line of feedback of our existing users that Ranking Raccoon is, for example, the great link building outreach platform, and this generated high click-through rate as well. So this is how we drew conclusions about what resonates better. So how spam link building is and how time consuming it is. So these were the winning messages for in-house marketers.
Nice. So yeah, because I usually look at it this way. So I think it's what I call like emotional direction. So people might either want to run away from a problem or move towards the outcome. So it seems like for Ranking Raccoon, you're basically saying that these people are more running away towards their problem, and that's the kind of the thing that's running through their mind when they land on the website.
Yeah. We also need to consider if people who land on the website from these ads take any action. And I think when it came to conversions to sign up, the visual with user testimonials was the best performing one, if I'm not mistaken. So it's interesting to see how different visuals can bring you website traffic, but other visuals are more bring you people who are more ready to convert.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all like a different level of awareness, sophistication. Some people know more, some people know less. Interesting.
I think so.
And how are there any other insights that you think or you are evaluating on if up to apply to the website or the messaging right now, or changes that you think might need to make?
Yeah, I don't know if I should disclose that much, but we are thinking about launching a product hunt, and we've been discussing for a few months now that actually Ranking Raccoon provides value to founders and small business owners because they have new products with still zero visibility in the digital world, and they want to get customers quickly, and backlinks are one of the ways to grow your visibility fast, so they can actually profit from Ranking Raccoons. And now we are together with my we have come up with a message. I'm gonna test it this few weeks until the launch, and then we will see how it performs on the launch day.
Interesting. How do you think about going about testing it? Is it LinkedIn as well?
Yes, we can do it on LinkedIn, but also on X, because I have realized that a lot of founders use X for some of them for an hour, but some of them for 3 hours each day. So they spend quite a lot of time there. The audience is pretty big. So
Nice.
I will start experimenting with X now. And you can also talk about your product on Product Hunt, and you can get honest feedback before you launch.
Yeah. How do you go about finding out like these data points, like how much time they spend on X? Do you use a service like Spark Toro, for example, or anything else?
No, I just came across some discussions
okay.
on Product Hunt about X.
Nice. Yeah, basically some guerrilla research. Rough.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, scrappy. Nice. I like it. What about other channels? You mentioned LinkedIn. Did you see an X? Did you see any other channels work well? And how did you approach them?
Yeah, we also tried launching ads on Facebook. It was tricky because on Facebook your targeting options are limited, so you can't really target people by job title or by seniority as you can on LinkedIn. You can target them by interests. And with one of our offers, when we tried before we introduced the payment, 1 week before, we tried the message to sign up for Ranking Raccoon before Friday and get it free forever, which was the truth, and it generated a lot of traffic. I think it was our record week in terms of traffic from Facebook, but only a couple of people took the action and signed up. Yeah. After that, I have abandoned Facebook. Maybe I will come back to it at some point, but for now it's not convincing.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's good. It's good to still experiment and see if it might work.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we were also thinking about Reddit ads for at some point, and I also asked other founders and startup marketers about their experience and got mixed feelings about Reddit. So we're not doing it for now. Maybe if we see good results on X, we can also explore the Reddit channel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. Cool. So when it comes to messaging, also voice and tone are a pretty important part of that with people.
Yeah, exactly. So when Ranking Raccoon just started, there was a meeting between marketing, design, and development. So just 3 people on the team. And they had an exercise. So there was a FigJam file, and each of them had to move the point on the scale between 2 different adjectives on what do you think is Ranking Raccoon and its character, its tone of voice. So should it be friendly or professional? Should it be spontaneous or planning, fun or serious, and so on and so forth? And then there was also a positioning exercise where my colleagues described what Ranking Raccoon is and what it is not. And they came to a conclusion that they don't want Ranking Raccoon to be complex, technical, dull, or formal. They want Ranking Raccoon to be welcoming, easy, but without coming across as too pushy, aggressive, or critical. So this is how we developed our tone of voice, which is welcoming and mild, but also harsh sometimes when it comes to paid backlinks or link farms or other practices we don't approve.
Yeah. So do you think that using this voice is more of an internal process, or do you also did you also get feedback from customers or users about what kind of vibe to give out?
Yes, we do have feedback. One of our existing users said that she really loves our tone of voice, and when she sees a raccoon pop up on her LinkedIn feed with some funny story, she instantly knows that it's Ranking Raccoon. So I think in terms of branding, my colleagues did it just fantastically. It was straight to the point. An example when we had to adapt our, not the landing page, but an email series was when some users were dissatisfied with the anti-ghosting rules that were in place, and many of them didn't like the word ghosting as such. So we had to remove it from our message reminder email campaigns, and people stopped churning actively.
Nice.
So they didn't want to leave the platform because of this.
Wow, really important. The tone shaped at the beginning? Was it like this at the early stages in a way, or was it different when the company started out? Do you know?
I don't think that it has changed that much since the company was started a year ago. So the marketer who was on the team before me, she holds a PhD in English literature, and she has much better English than I do. So she can use a wide variety of adjectives. But yeah, it was, I think, a bit difficult to strike the balance between being seen as trustworthy, because we want to come across as a spam-free platform, but also as something fun and modern and like understanding the problems that marketers face.
Yeah.
And I think we're still fine-tuning this tone of voice.
Yeah, it's always constant iteration.
Yeah.
How would you test for voice? Would you try and put out different types of messages and different voices? How would you do it?
I mean, for the general tone of voice. Yeah, now we have some idea of what works well and what not. So generally, we have positive feedback. People like that we are like honest and straightforward and simple. And we use some colloquials as well.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say we're testing the general tone of voice, but just some minor messages via LinkedIn ads, again, Facebook ads, so paid campaigns and user testing interviews.
Yeah. All right.
We're not really doing it WordPress for the landing page as of now. I would like to introduce this, but we're just looking into a tool to do it.
Yes, of course. The resources, you have to keep account of that. So this is a question that I always ask my clients as well when it comes to their voice. How would you describe Ranking Raccoon if it was a person?
It's interesting because it has a mascot and it's Raccoon is closer to being a person than some.
Yeah.
I would say it's friendly, honest, reliable, transparent.
Yeah, nice. And
I don't know if my users would describe the same way.
yeah, and the opposite question is, how would you describe your competitors? And without naming names, how would you describe them, like the competition in general? Person.
Difficult question because I would segment our competitors into a few buckets.
Okay, let's say like the biggest bucket, maybe, for example.
How many adjectives do you need?
3, let's say 3.
I would say self-confident, pushy. I'm not sure if, but also modern. Yeah, I would say that modern for some of them.
Self-confident,
Yeah,
pushy,
it's
modern.
difficult. I'm a bit mixing it in my head because there are great tools out there actually that implement AI. That's why I said modern.
Okay.
And at least they promise to be spam-free as well and verified processes. But some of them are just marketplaces or databases where you can find sites from any niche fast. They promise to get you fast results in traffic, but you don't know how sustainable that is.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it sounds like you have a pretty good idea as well, which I think it's important for product marketers to have a feel for the landscape, the competition. So it was really interesting to hear your opinion on that. I want to ask last couple of questions because as an early stage company, especially, you're still trying to find your way through to product market fit, right? So what are the main challenges around that and around messaging for you right now?
Yeah, the key challenge here is that our two main user segments, so the in-house marketers and the agency professionals, which are split in, I would say, 60 to 40% proportion, they have quite different habits, challenges, approaches to link building. And there are certain messages that we can't put on the landing page that would resonate with in-house marketers, or at least it's our assumption, but they would scare off agency professionals. So, for example, when we speak about the cost of link building, because if we speak about the cost of it, then we could come across as being a competitor to agency folks, while in reality, our goal is to bring together genuine SEOs and marketers and trustworthy agency SEO professionals, because we believe that even though they have different processes and mindsets, if they collaborate, this can be a win for everyone. So this is what we're still trying to achieve.
So speak to all of them.
Yeah, speak to all of them. Don't put off anybody, but rather educate them on how they can work better together.
Yeah.
Faster, safer,
Yeah.
sustainably.
And so what's your plan for doing it, or how you started doing it in a way?
You mean when it comes to the messaging or the position in general?
To speaking to all of these people in the same way, achieving this goal.
Yeah, for now we have put some more neutral messages on the landing page, which resonate with both of them. For example, when it comes to the absence of cold emails and just direct message to the exact site admin that can put the link for you. Yeah, but this is a challenging process, I would say.
Yeah, it's constant iteration and creation. All right, you mentioned in passing your blog that you started recently, and I was curious about how you are dealing with the balance of using the right keywords, but also achieving your messaging goals. Sometimes messaging is not necessarily about specific keywords, but SEO on the other hand, and content is. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, we knew from the beginning that the link building niche is highly competitive. And if you go to Ahrefs and do keyword research for link building strategies or link building tips, you will see the keyword difficulty of 80 plus. And the traffic is also huge, but you would need thousands of backlinks to rank in the top 10 of Google results. So we knew from the beginning that we will publish a few articles that are not for SEO purposes. And the first one was the story of Ranking Raccoon creation, which is published on behalf of our SEO David, CEO David. But naturally, we also tried to uncover the keywords that our target audience would resonate with. So what would genuine in-house marketers at small companies resonate with? They want to, from user interviews, we found that they want to read content that helps them do their job better. So they want to read some step-by-step guides, for example. They want to know about potential mistakes they could make in link building in SEO, how to come up with an SEO strategy for a specific niche. So we're trying to come up with all this advice. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, totally. Are you also writing the blogs, some of the blogs as well? Okay.
For our own blog.
Yeah. And I'm curious, how do you go about the writing process and the research process? Where do you go to like research, for example?
So I started with the keyword research. I mostly do the keyword research for the US market. I look at the SERP results. I'm trying to see, so for the first 10, maybe 5 articles that rank the best, why do they rank best? And I then realized that some of them have really great infographics. They have statistics, and I'm also trying to add this to every article. Then, I do use AI to proofread because I'm not a native speaker either. I use Grammarly to check if my content would be easily understandable to someone.
Yeah.
And my designer sometimes helps me with creating the visuals inside the blog post and the cover images.
Nice. And
So that's good.
when it comes to the blog, do you have a call to action? How do you send people from the education stage to more of a conversion stage?
Yeah. So we put the link to the landing page naturally, but we also have a banner with the raccoon, and then I adapt the message on the banner based on the article's content.
Okay.
So,
Tailor.
for example, if it's an article about white hat link building, then I motivate them to build white hat backlinks and grow ranking sustainably. One thing I forgot to mention is that, especially for my early articles, I interviewed a lot of people, both our existing users and people whom I met on LinkedIn from the SEO niche. I just wanted to get their perspective on link building and some common traps to avoid. Yeah, because I think that quotes make the article more trustworthy and easier to read.
When it comes to LinkedIn and asking people to get on interviews, because I think this is something that a lot of people would like to become better at and avoid sounding spammy on indirect messages on LinkedIn or trying to pitch people. So what type of message did you send to people asking them to get on these interviews? How did you do it?
I have seen quite good conversions on the same messages, to be honest. So sometimes I just came across a post from a person, I interacted with that, commented on that, then I add the person to connections, and then I send the message based on their profile. I can say that I loved your recent post. It resonated with me that much. I'm writing a new blog post about, for example, ways to get free backlinks. Because you have been in this niche, your contribution would be very valuable. And most of people agree because they also get a backlink.
Nice.
We're a small site, but they get the backlink, they get the visibility. And some of them are even ready to promote the blog post after it's been published. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's about showing them what's in it for them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my last question, it's where do you go to learn about product marketing, about messaging, about AI? What are your favorite places, resources?
The Product Marketing Alliance. Last year, I did a scholarship program there. And now I have less time to go through their newsletter and their site. But I know that if I need some framework, I can get it from there. I have some on my computer already. So I think this is it. But I also subscribe to some newsletters like the Daily Carnage, and they send some marketing tips daily, about some inspiration.
Yeah.
I also love product marketing files. Don't remember who issues that now. Lenny's newsletter.
Yeah.
Tamara Grominsky's newsletter as well, Inside Olive Wine. So I have a few product marketing thought leaders that I subscribe to on LinkedIn.
Nice. Yeah, I know a couple of them. Not other one. The Carnage one was interesting. I'll probably check it out.
The Carnage,
yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Natalia. It's been really insightful, especially for people and companies who are at their starting point, early stages. I think this is very valuable information. And yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. I hope it was valuable.
Thank you so much for listening to the pod. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, the best thing you could do to support the show and help me as a small business owner would be to leave a review. Head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and let me know what you think. If you don't want to miss future episodes, subscribe, and if you have any feedback, questions, or suggestions for future episodes, just hit me up on LinkedIn at Christopher Silvestri or Twitter at SilvestriChris. Speak to you next time.